I think it was Huey Newton said that violence is as American as cherry pie. And it was time for us to throw the pie. These were the dark ages as far as what we could do, what we were allowed to do or allowed to be. And gay bashing was a city sport.
And out here, we hung out mostly in the park over there and along this street here. People would throw buckets of water on us because we weren't living in the neighborhood, we were on the streets. This place back then was made to be invisible. This wasn't a highly visible street like it is now. It was a kind of almost like a back street.
Many of us had joined Liberations as another group. Feminists or the Black Civil Rights. It was always the other groups that we lend ourselves to because we were also from those groups. It was not a conscious thing. It was merely instinct. And it was, like all riots, a kinetic thing. It's sometimes confusing, but it was like a kaleidoscope. You know, we were all changing positions. It would ignite and reignite all in different spots where the more militant queens were, or where they were dispersed, or where they spread out to try to get away from the cops, and then facing a new situation. And now we were really being provocative. Then we got out. They didn't catch us. We dispersed, and the riot continued this way for the night. I mean, the gays even grabbed cabs and started shaking them, but they let the passengers out. I mean, the violence was basically controlled. It was more rage than violence. It was justified, we felt. And we wanted to shake things up, which is exactly what they're doing with the cabs and the cars, but not hurt anyone that really hadn't hurt us. And that's what Stonewall was the end of the beginning. And from there on, I think that, we lit the torch. We didn't know if there was anyone to carry that torch.
And it was the beginning of a new era. We didn't know that. We just knew something happened, and then history tells the rest of the story.
As I sat here, and the street, the sun hadn't come up yet, and there was broken glass like mica, but it looked like diamonds, and pieces of beautiful, tiny pieces of cloth that was very similar sometimes to Tommy's art, Tommy's aesthetic. Probably that's why I noticed it. And I thought, we're going to pay very, very dearly for this. Because I'd always been a history student. And I thought we'd pay a terrible price for this. We just did it, we had to do it. And I was glad to be wrong. But the wonderful thing about it is that 6 hours before that, I was right. So, so it was nice to be wrong sometimes.